Welcome, everyone. My name is Barbara Krillman, and I'm a minister here on Hamilton Mountain at Linden Park Community United Church. And welcome to our Lenten moment, our Lenten conversations. And today I am so happy to welcome the Reverend Anne Montgomery, who grew up in ministry, grew up in manses throughout the country. Her father was a United Church minister. A couple of her uncles were in ministry, an aunt, her stepmom, um, just surrounded by ministry in the United Church of Canada. So, welcome, Anne. I should also say that there is a relationship between us that goes beyond friendship. We are physically related. So, Cousin Anne, welcome.
Thank you. It's good to be with you.
So, just a conversation, first off, about what Lent means to you, if it means anything. This is a special season in the church year, and it's different for everyone. So,
First, once I start into Lent, I realize that spring is coming. It's a wonderful promise and a reassurance for me that that cold and ice and snow may change sometime soon, and usually it does through the later part of Lent. So that's a seasonal feeling. Um, Personally, it's more demanding because there are more activities in worship leadership and church work. Usually there's a specific Bible or a discussion group for Lent, and that certainly requires some homework. So there's that. And then um, that's work related. Even though I am technically retired, I'm still doing ministry from here and there. Um, And personally, it usually means that I either find a Lenten calendar or a Lenten series of readings, um, or a book study or Bible study that appeals to me personally. And I try to follow that as much as I can.
sounds busy, but possibly enriching for you. So let's take that a bit farther. Part of Lent often involves giving something up or fasting for some away from something. And for some people that brings up some very negative feelings and other people some very positive feelings, and I just wondered if you wanted to speak to that.
Nice of you to ask.
Of course.
I find I find if I talk about it, it often doesn't happen. But this year, I've decided that I'm not going to deliberately look for snacks between meals. And so I have my coffee cup with me. That coffee and tea are what usually keep me going. Calf, both of them. Um, but that's it. If someone offers me something, I wouldn't hurt them by refusing.
Right.
But I am not finding something on my own. And hopefully that may have a little bit of an impact on the scales on occasion. And hopefully it will make me feel a little better about myself. That's the personal thing this year.
Mm-hmm.
I
And
have in the past decided to divest myself of extra clothing. Um, a couple of years ago, a friend asked me, yes, yeah, a friend asked me if I would participate in a clothing drive for Lent. And I said, sure, what does that mean? Well, for 40 days, you get rid of one item of clothing that you're not wearing or using um, each day, each of those 40 days. Put them into a green garbage bag or whatever and hand them over because there are places where people appreciate having clothing that
mm-hmm.
I'm not necessarily using or wearing. Um, and so I have done that in a couple of different Lents. Um, and it's been interesting because I may look at something hanging in my closet and think I really like that. And then I realize I haven't had it on for a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
And so there it goes.
Yeah.
And it hasn't really hurt at all. It's been sort of up to space my clothing out a little bit in the
Mm-hmm.
so that's a giving away, not a giving up, but a giving away.
Well, it's kind of giving up because you've held on to them for a reason, right? And then now you're kind of releasing them. You're blessing somebody else with them, which is a great thing to do. But like my purple today, this thing I remember wearing 2013 when I went to my first learning circle. And I told one of the other gals who was going to meet me at the airport that I'd be wearing a purple. And it now has a few holes in it, but I'm reluctant to let go because it's comfortable and I like purple. Um, but yeah, definitely
It
paring down.
has, yes, it has a meaning to your life.
Oh, yeah.
I've I found sometimes if it was a special outfit I wore to a special event, that sometimes I will take a picture of it because a picture takes up less space.
Yes.
But I have a few things, a few sweaters where the elbows are a little thin, and sometimes I can reward myself down the way,
Yeah.
maybe after Easter when some sales are on, and I'll shop for another sweater that
Right.
a little in a little healthier condition.
Yeah.
But yes, there are memories with every item, right?
Oh, for sure. So, just thinking about Lent for a second and you being around the United Church in possibly a much deeper way than I had been growing up in the church. Do you remember much talk about Lent? I find in the liturgical traditions of, say, the Anglican, Lutheran, Roman Catholic Church, it's definitely very much part of it. Not so much that I remember in the United Church.
So, um, yes, in some of the traditions or methods of honoring Lent, um, going to worship every morning through Lent was something that I know my
Mm-hmm.
Catholic neighbors used to do.
Mm-hmm.
And respecting very, very strictly giving something up for Lent was
Mm-hmm.
always critically important. I think the idea of fish on Friday was even more forcefully endorsed by some chefs at home. And there was always that aspect of um, speaking about it within your community of faith. It was something that was honored. In the United Church of Canada, it was probably a little more relaxed, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember very the the hard cardboard folders
Mm-hmm.
with the little indentations in them where you would put a dime
A dime.
every day of the week, and Sundays you would put a quarter. And if you didn't have the dime or the quarter, you had to find it somehow, or you had to earn it so that you would be able to fill that cardboard folder by the end of Lent.
Yeah.
So I remember doing that as a child. Was It was challenging, but it was rewarding that you were able to do that. We were living. We were not wealthy family for sure, but we were uh, healthy and gifted enough that I was able to do that when I was given the opportunity. But that depended on the different congregations that we were affiliated with each.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely remember those. And I remember when they went from a dime to a quarter.
Oh,
And then The one year they gave out empty prescription bottles that you would put loonies in. You know, you'd save your loonies for Lent, kind of thing. And then that was earmarked in some congregations as mission and service. That was a special gift to mission and service. But I don't remember conversations about it other than that. Other than that. So
Could be.
learning other traditions has really enriched my life in ways that I hadn't expected. But and I appreciate you sharing your stories or parts of that with us. Do you have a favorite hymn you would sing at Lent? I ask you this because I know you were in music ministry and that you have a great voice.
Haven't been used for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Pandemic pandemic does not endorse that. Um, I think um, one of my favorites is Dust and Ashes, Touch Our Face, which is an Ash Wednesday
Mm-hmm.
gig. Not just the words, but the music. The melody is lovely.
Mm-hmm.
Um, as a youngster, I always enjoyed singing Beneath the Cross of Jesus.
Yeah.
And that's an old piece.
Definitely. Yeah.
So
Definitely.
I don't have any particular favorites now. I've gotten to the point where I appreciate every piece of music that I come across because it has some meaning for someone,
Exactly.
and it's a treasure to celebrate those.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I don't think as a child or as a young lady, a teenager, um, we did have regular conversations about Lent. Um, I think it was more what we would hear from the pulpit
Yeah.
on a Sunday
Right.
in our tradition, anyway.
Yeah, for sure. I do remember sitting on an Easter morning, a Resurrection Sunday, and listening to your father preach, and the great music of that day. And when I think of Lent, I think of the hope and the knowledge that Easter is coming. Easter's coming. So great memories with your family during that time as well. Well, thank you again, Anne, for taking some time out of your busy schedule, because I know you are busy, and sharing a little bit with me here today and then off into the ether as it goes, or into the internet. So I appreciate that very much. Thank you.
Pleasure, and it's so good to spend some time with my cousin.
Yeah, definitely.